Dallas right now.
Really?
Mm.
Is Slayton doing well?
Jesus.
All right. So, excuse me. We're back at it like a crack addict. AT&T decided that that was enough Falcon slander for them. I think what I was saying right before this cut off was that we're not in the point of this current, window for the Falcons. It's a term that a lot of people like to say. This window for the Falcons that we have, guys sitting in the wings. We haven't drafted someone, in waiting behind Matt Ryan, and we're just all wondering what his potential is going to be like because we all believed, or at least the majority of the Atlanta Falcons fans and the coaching staff believe that Matt Ryan still had some years in him. And maybe he does. Maybe this is just an anomaly. This is a blip in the Matt Ryan 2020 campaign. But from everything that I'm seeing from him, this looks beyond something that's just like a simple, coaching fix. This is not something that you can be, okay, Matt, stop dropping your back shoulder. Stop doing this. You need to get a little more comfy in the pocket. This is arm strength. And this is just, Matt Ryan being abused in the pocket for so many years that anytime there's any type of pressure around him, he panics. So I don't know, man. I just, as a fan, this is like depressing. This is just a signal to me that, this is probably the last year of Alex Mack. Either we're going to let him walk or he's going to retire. Julio Jones is now going to be another year older, and he's still getting banged up. He's not getting any healthier, any younger. Matt Ryan, your most important position is on a serious decline.
Scheduled to make 40 million this
scheduled to make $41 million next year.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of places where you have question marks that it's so important. It's like, what do you do? What would be your path in making this team as competitive as it could be? No, let's not even say that. Let's not just be as competitive as we can be. Competing for the ultimate goal every year again, Micah. What would be the quickest path for you?
I mean, the quickest path is, first of all, you have to move the players that fiscally make sense to be moved.
Right.
So one, like after this year, you're probably gonna have to trade Rico. Even though he is a leader on the defense, you're probably gonna have to trade him because financially it's all you can really, like, you gotta create a little cap space, and you potentially could get probably a fifth or so rounder for him, maybe. Mm-hmm. Tyler Davidson is another one, probably gonna have to look at moving. The problem is we got a couple of players like Debo is looking like he's regressing, and you just signed him last year. So if we get
go for it. I want to put a pin in that Debo thing because I have some thoughts on that.
So say next year we get a coach and they want to move to more of a 3-4 scheme. He might move to the other inside linebacker, or say they want to move to a 4-3 scheme that requires bigger backers. Do you move him to outside, see if he can play the outside linebacker, or what? I mean, it's just Keanu probably gonna have to just let him go because I like Keanu. And he's a thumper, but he's a liability in coverage. And I tried to argue with folks about that, but he, every time you see him in coverage, that's typically who they target, whoever he's guarding. So it's just Man, I don't know if it's an easy thing, and that's part of the reason why I don't feel like Dimitrov is that much of a cap wizard, because one of our biggest problems is you have two players that are two of our oldest players on our team that are taking up over $60 million of cap next year. And if the cap goes down, you really can't afford that. So what are you going to do? Restructure Matt's contract one more time, push more money back? I mean, it doesn't, there's no easy fix to what we have right now.
There's got to be a point, because what they've been doing with the cap, like Matt Ryan was actually scheduled to make 37 this year, but they prorated a lot of things and they turned a lot of it into bonus. So essentially what they did is they said, hey, look, you're going to get guaranteed money up front. Take this off of the books here, and wrote a check out of Arthur Blank's pocketbook or his checkbook and said, here you go. This is what we need, because we need a little bit more pieces. So it does go both ways. You're right. You know, he's signed these deals, but a lot of these things are expected. I mean, you just saw Pat Mahomes sign one of the craziest contracts ever. So, I mean, to get a quarterback and keep him for a long time, you got to sign those things. And relatively speaking, Matt Ryan's contract compared to Pat Mahomes' contract doesn't look as bad, but Pat Mahomes had a lot of things installed in that contract that are team friendly.
But also the difference is the skill set. Pat Mahomes' skill set is going to age a lot better than Matt Ryan's skill set, which is exactly the problem. Now that Matt's on the second year of his 5-year deal, 5-year extension, or is it second or third?
I think this is his third year.
He got it before 2017 and it didn't kick into 18. So this is the third year of his 5-year extension. It's like, all right, well, he looks like it's essentially he's looking like what Phillip Rivers did for the Chargers did last year. Not very mobile, you know, he's kind of panicked. I think Phillip Rivers was more likely to take a hit. He was more willing to take a hit, but you know, the arm looked shot, you know, made some questionable decisions, like, you know, threw some deep balls when it was like threw some jump balls. And it was like, dude, what are you doing? You don't have the arm to pull that off anymore. Not to mention, Matt also has a tendency to stare down receivers and not see underneath coverage, which happened to him, he almost threw a pick late in the game because he didn't see underneath coverage on a deeper route. So his skill set doesn't age well versus Mahomes. Even when he does lose his mobility, his arm is probably strong enough alone to carry him to another level. So, or to keep them competitive.
Yeah. It's just like, is thinking that this version of the Falcons, that it can be successful in this current regime, is thinking positively about them, is that an exercise in futility at this point? Like, should we just face the music and say, you know what, you're right, this team isn't going to work, blow it up, and let's deal with 3, 4, who knows how long? Because, you know, there's no guarantee that the people that you get out of the draft are going to be what they're supposed to. We've gotten extremely lucky that, you know, we went from Mike Vick to then Matt Ryan. We haven't had that window of, you know, the Sam Darnolds where, I'm a top 5 pick and I'm not very good, or I'm Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. You know, these are all guys that went early that showed all the promise in the world in college and just didn't do it.
But I think, I don't know. I think Jameis was a gunslinger. I think Jameis was going to have problems regardless. But Like Mariota, I think Mariota's problem was he didn't have a coaching staff who were willing to utilize his strengths in the offense. They wanted it's essentially why a lot of other mobile quarterbacks fail is they want to turn them into just a more polished pocket passer. And it's like, whereas you should probably like do what Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson and build your offense around the fact that your quarterback can run like a running back. But
that's a discussion for another day. As far as the not so much the nepotism. Well, yeah, the nepotism in the NFL and how a lot of these good old boys keep getting recycled and you don't see a changing of the guard. And that's why they're all like, well, no, I'm an NFL head coach and these are the systems we run here. And that's how we're going to run it.
Yeah.
And then you get a guy like Andy Reid's like, you know what? Like, I like offense. You're really good at offense and you're really good at playing this way. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to play your way.
Oh yeah. Well, I think more owners are starting to see that, and that's why a lot more younger, more innovative coaches are getting coaching opportunities now. Is because they can think more out. They're more willing to think outside the box versus 10 years ago it was a lot of old school defensive minded, hard smash mouth football coaches just being recycled. You lose a job, you wait a year or two, and then you get another job somewhere else. And like Jeff Fisher,
God,
wasn't a great coach, but
kept getting jobs.
Yeah, he just kept getting jobs, and he destroyed quarterbacks everywhere he went. Like he almost made Nick Foles quit football.
That says something. Yeah, because if we're speaking solely on merit, Dirk Cutter shouldn't be an offensive coordinator in the NFL anymore. Like, should not. Yeah, I mean, no, not even. He wasn't even the coordinator last year, so it doesn't matter.
He was last year.
No, I was thinking of the Bucks.
Yeah, Todd Monken took that role his last year in Tampa, and they had that explosive offense, and didn't win anything.
So we did this the other day on our Instagram, where we started to look ahead beyond the Matt Ryan era. And obviously there's two elite who are projecting to be elite quarterbacks coming out this year in the draft. And well, we're assuming Fields is leaving. Seeing, I guess, depending on what the Big Ten does, maybe he comes back for another year and he wants to compete for a national championship. But that would shock me if he did. Let's do a little projecting. Let's not look so much at the player side, but let's look ahead on the coaching and front office side. I know your answer, but let's start coaching, because GMs it's a little bit different. It's hard to say, but who would you want the Atlanta Falcons' next head coach to be?
You already know. I'm Bieniemy all the way. I mean, you're a disciple of Andy Reid, who's one of the greatest offensive minds we've seen in forever. Like the only other offensive tree, the only other tree that's close to his offensively is the Mike Shanahan's tree, and he's got McVay and all these guys. But Andy Reid, I want somebody who's learned I would love to have somebody who's learned under Andy Reid. He's not insanely old. I mean, and he's probably open-minded and willing to think outside the box on like how to build a quarterback versus, this one set in stone idea of what a true quarterback is supposed to look like. Right. Like a lot of football fans have.
Yeah. And I get the desire for Bieniemy. There's, everything he's doing out there is beautiful. Um, Sometimes things like that scare me for a couple of reasons. One, he's under Andy Reid. So it's like, how much of this is just, him executing Andy Reid's offense?
Yeah.
And how much is this Eric Bieniemy, going, hey, this is what we're running and drawing up these new plays and these new ideas. That's the one thing that scares me. Two, will that work with who we have? Because unless there's some type of crazy restructuring and Matt Ryan's like, you know what, I don't want to leave Atlanta, but I highly doubt he will, because I think he sees, the horizon approaching very fast here. He knows that he's not going to get a big market in the free agency market, but
I think he would, but
yeah, but a lot of teams are starting to think like, all right, where can we get the next Lamar Jackson? Where can we get the next Mahomes? Where can we get the next Josh Allen? That's the style of quarterback they want. Unless you're talking about a team like New England, they're like, hey, let's give it one more shot with the mobile guy, because unless they don't resign Cam.
No, I think I think it would be like if we released him, I think maybe a team like Chicago might like a team who just wants something more steady.
But they signed Foles to a 3-year deal.
They traded he had the 3-year deal in place.
That's right. So he's got 2 more years with that team, but
or maybe say guy and say Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. I think they like Gardner too.
Huh?
I think they like Gardner.
I think they do, or Washington for one.
There's a plausibility.
Washington, Ron Rivera might just say, he's a safe veteran who's smart. He knows what he knows what to do with the football. He knows how to protect the football. So, he might take that gamble, or like Indianapolis. That's another
got that
one. Well, no, they got Phillip Rivers, who's older than Matt Ryan.
Yeah, but they wouldn't.
And they signed him.
Another Phillip Rivers.
They signed him into a 1-year deal, though, and I mean they might say Matt's got a little more juice in the tank left than Phillip Rivers does. So,
okay, but another thing that scares me about that is I lost it. I had 3 things, but anyway, so you're looking at Bieniemy, and I know what it was. Is how much we've already seen a Bieniemy and his execution on the offense. The NFL adjusts; it constantly adjusts, and when you saw the RPO or the read option come into the NFL, and it took the world by storm, and the teams on the front end of that were really, really successful with it. And they dominated for 2 to 3 years, and then the NFL caught up. Then the RPO came in, and the teams that were running that, and the ones that innovated that, were really, really successful with that for like 2 to 3 years. Then the NFL caught up, and we can even take it all the way back to like the Wildcat. That was very successful because it was so different, and so it was doing things that defenses hadn't seen in such a ever, that it caught them off guard, and it took the NFL a second to adjust. And when I say the NFL, I mean like NFL defensive coordinators. So this would be like the 3rd year of us seeing what Bieniemy does. And so typically you see a declination in that type of thing, because they're like, okay, in these situations, this is what he does. In these situations, this is what he does here. And, he's not going to have Pat Mahomes to bail him out on bad calls. He's not going to have Tyreek Hill's 4.2 speed and McCole Hardman's 4.3 speed and Sammy Watkins probably now 4.4 speed, or Travis Kelce, or he's not going to have that here. So my concern is, getting someone like that where the NFL has already seen it.
Yeah,
You can see a dip. And that's actually what we did with Dan Quinn, because that cover 3 system was so successful. And then we got in on the back end of it and got a coach out of it. And then by the time he got here and started to really, apply it with the players that he wanted, teams like New Orleans is like, we've seen this for years. This is easy. So what I would want to see and what I would want to happen is we go out and make the groundbreaking move. We go and find a coach, that we haven't seen. Don't bring in a guy that the NFL already knows what he's going to do. Don't bring in a guy where you have tape on him. That's why Sean McVay was so successful. I mean, granted, he's a genius offensive coordinator, but a lot of it is, you can relate it to baseball. When you get a young pitcher come up and his first 4 or 5 starts, he's going to look a lot better than he does in the second half of the season, where hitters start to realize, all right, this is where he likes to put this pitch, and this is where he likes to put. They have tape on him. So I think a thing that makes successful, and that's why you see so much parity in the NFL, is staying ahead of the curve. And I think the Falcons, with the Dan Quinn hire, we weren't ahead of the curve. We caught it at its peak and rode it out on its slow declination. And now everyone knows what Dan Quinn does, and they can just, our defense is getting picked apart because everyone's like, okay, it's the 4-3 over with the cover 3 shell behind it, or he runs man. They know what to look for.
I agree with that to an extent, but I also feel like great coaches don't limit themselves. They don't get behind the curve.
But Dan Quinn's not that.
So, I'm not saying Dan Quinn is, but what I'm saying is, like, Shanahan. How many years have they seen Kyle Shanahan call offense the way he's called offense? And you can't really adjust to it, because every time you think you've got him figured out, he throws another wrinkle at you.
All his plays, there's like 20 plays in his playbook that all look
exactly the same. They look identical, but there's one slight wrinkle that changes the entire play. So, like, he calls it like that. LaFleur calls that same playbook. Sean McVay calls that same playbook. Now, granted, execution makes the difference. Like with McVay last year, the offensive line was bad, and Goff played poorly at times. Mm-hmm. And it made his offense look like teams that caught up with it, when in reality, it was just your quarterback wasn't executing the play the way that it was drawn up. Yeah. Last year with Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers was kind of uncomfortable in that scheme, and you could tell there was a little friction between LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers at times, mm-hmm. and it looked rough at times, even though they went 12-4 or whatever and went to the NFC Championship game. Even the Niners in the Super Bowl, second half of the Super Bowl, the Chiefs made an adjustment. Ooh.
Article just popped up, ladies and gentlemen, that the Atlanta Falcons will announce the firing of Dan Quinn this week, per reports.
Yeah. But like with Shanahan, in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs made adjustments to stop their run, because that's what they relied so heavily on. And at the end of the game, Garoppolo couldn't complete a pass to save his life to keep him in the game. So, I mean, it's more so they're innovative, and they're always ahead of the defense, regardless of how many times you've seen where they always have something you've never seen before. And the problem is, it comes down more so to, will the players execute the way that you drew the play up? Because if they do, it's amazing. If they don't, then it just looks stupid. It's like, oh, that was a terrible play call. Like, for instance, the Super Bowl, the sack, that sack play. Now, granted, we should have run the ball.
The Hightower sack?
Yeah. We should have run the ball in that scenario. It was the simple thing to do, but the route was open.
Yeah.
The route was open. So if there wasn't a communication error between Devontae and whatever, because he was looking in, when we went back and looked at it, he was looking inside and Hightower was on the out, was coming off the edge. So I mean, if there wasn't that lack of communication and blocking, who knows what could have happened? He could have thrown a bomb and we could have scored a touchdown and ended the game. But we didn't, and we know how it ended. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, so football is that one sport where coaching matters the most. Like absolutely matters the most, because they have such an influence on the way the roster is made up. They have such an influence on the scheme you run. And there's not that freedom to freestyle like there is in basketball or, baseball. There, coaching doesn't really matter. That managerial style doesn't really affect a team that much in there. But you seem to be saying more so that, coaching matters, but it's also down to the execution, and that our players should definitely be held accountable.
That's part of the reason why I'm so frustrated. That's the reason I've been frustrated with Matt Ryan at times.
I mean, he looks bad
over the years, because y'all have always stood up for him. But my frustration has always been in big games when we needed him to make plays the most, he often came up short. And we always, and as fans, we put the blame, the defense should have done that. Well, why can't the offense get it done? This is the unit where you have like over 60% of your cap is on your offense. And your stars, your big name stars that everybody talks about on your offense, not your defense. Why can't those stars step up and make plays when you need the plays the most? So, I mean, that's just, I've always been, especially and as a former player, I know if a coach, say I was a tackle. So say the coach called a counter play and the play was perfect, but I whiffed on my block and the play gets blown up in the backfield. Was that the play? Was that the play caller's fault, or was it my fault because I didn't do my job?
Yeah, I mean, that obviously.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just like we love to pile on to, or I mean, say it was a deep ball. Receiver gets behind the corner, and as a tackle, I slip up, lose my footing, so the quarterback gets hit as he's throwing, and the ball gets picked off. Some fans would be like, "Oh, why would you call that play in that scenario?" Well, but the reality, the breakdown in that play was the tackle slipped, and so your quarterback got hit. If your tackle does his job, then it could potentially be a touchdown. So that's just my thing. I think it's execution as well as coaching.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but also it's a two-sided coin here. Like, it comes down to making the right calls at the right time most of the time. And I don't feel like what we have currently, look who it is. I don't feel like what we have right now is, yeah, I saw that. I feel like for instance, let's just use today as an example. What's up, Marco? Welcome to the
what up?
The chat here. You say the breakdown in certain areas, like a tackle misses it. But for instance, in driving to tie the game, we had been running the ball exceptionally well all game, really. And then especially on that drive, that's what got us down to where we were. We had just ran the ball 2 consecutive times and got 4 yards on one, 3 on another, when they were stacking the box on both plays. We then come out on 3rd and 4 on I think about the 6-yard line. So we had the potential to get a first down or punch it in the end zone. So We're driving to tie the game, and then we come out and we throw the ball. It was a bad throw by Matt Ryan, a bad decision all around. But
what are you talking about now?
The interception when we were down 20-13.
Okay.
And Matt Ryan throws it right to the defender. And,
So we ran the ball twice, right?
We ran the ball.
I was watching
the ball
on the red
twice,
zone,
and got down there. Well, we ran the majority of that drive, got down there, ran 2 times in a row successfully. If you get over 3 yards a carry in the NFL, that's a successful run. And then we come out and Dirk Cutter tries to get cute and puts it on a guy who hasn't looked good this game or the game before without our number 1 offensive receiver. And we throw it to our number 3 offensive receiver, and we throw an interception. Now, good coaches should do something. And I forget, I was watching somebody last week, and it was a coach, and I think it was, I forget who it was. Anyway, they said good coaches will abuse something until you show them that you can stop it consistently. And with Gurley, let's look at the stats here. Let's look.
I know John Chuckery says that on the promo for 92.9 every day.
Oh yeah, so we had 166 rushing yards up to that point because we didn't run it after that.
Yeah,
we had 166 rushing yards to that point. They're giving up 6.6 yards per carry. Yeah. We decide we're going to throw the ball, and we throw a pick and cost us the game. That was poorly executed by Matt Ryan, but it was poorly called by Dirk Cutter.
Well, so my question here on that play is, so do you expect them to run 3 dives in a row?
I expect them to try one more time, yeah, because you just did it 2 times successfully when they were stacking the box.
The problem with that is that I feel like you just have to be, it's like you have to be more creative, right? Because because the first down, it was predictable, right? They did work 2 times, but I don't know if your probability on diving 3 times is gonna.
Didn't have to be a dive, Marco. It could have been any type of run play because we were running all different types of run play. But let me answer you with this: at the end of the game, did you think Carolina was going to throw the ball?
No.
Did the entire Atlanta defense know Carolina was going to run the ball?
Yeah.
And what happened?
They ran the ball.
And what happened?
Yeah. They scored.
They churned out first down after first down after first down. And that's the exact reason we lost in the Super Bowl. That's the exact reason we've lost 2 games earlier this season. And it's the exact reason we lost this game. It comes down to coaching, and this coaching staff doesn't have it. They're not cut out to be NFL coaches.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. Now, granted, I would have called it a little differently than you did because you said you wanted 3 straight runs in that scenario. I don't know if our line would have held up to get us in that scenario.
Micah, they were averaging 6.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, but you got 4 on the first play, and you get, but in that red zone, you get bigger bodies in there that makes it harder to run. Mm-hmm. So what I would have done is I would have run on first down. You got 4. Second down, I would have come with play action, and see if you can get some kind of mismatch off play action. But the problem is you get on third down. And you get a third and goal from the 6, and it's like, all right, which is probably it's extremely hard because it's so tight down there. And the only thing you can hope to do is potentially and we don't do stuff like, we still don't run pick plays or you can't really. There's not many double moves you can run down there, but we don't run the creative style plays that other teams run to get easy open.
Just a nice little screen
to the
coaching
left. Decision.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that. But at the end of the day, like I said, it still didn't have to be an interception though.
Right. And I mean, so like the Panthers ran one on us where they scored going right while everybody on our team thought they were going left, and they scored going right. In the Chiefs game, Pat Mahomes ran one, a similar play, where it's just like a little screen to the left. You like fake a run and, throw a little screen to the left, easy touchdown. It's just like you said, we just do not have the creativity in the mind of Dirk Cutter or Dan Quinn to come up with easy ways to convert, in the red zone. So, and we put it on the flailing arm of Matt Ryan. When I think we should have play action the first time. I think we should have play action first down, You know what I mean? And then we could have just scored a touchdown right there. You know, instead of prolonging the inevitable, because that's really what you're doing every time Dirk Cutter coaches. He's just prolonging the inevitable. He's gonna do something predictable.
Well, you missed my reference earlier, Marco, where I said essentially Dirk Cutter is like a math teacher trying to teach science. He doesn't understand the concepts of how to utilize Shanahan's playbook, but they're asking him to try to utilize Shanahan's playbook, which is crazy because Sark had a better understanding of the playbook and how to set stuff up. But Sark's problem was he was still set in this Alabama mindset where when we got third and short, he could just take all the receivers off the field, line up in a jumbo formation, and just pound it up the middle, despite the fact that his running back was like 200 pounds.
You know, all the coordinators that Dan Quinn has gotten fired over the years are probably laughing their asses off right now.
I mean, you see the pre-motion stuff that Sark be doing in Alabama? I mean, it looks genius compared to what the hell we're running.
Because he's like, man, what I learned from that Shanahan playbook? Oh, yeah, exactly. You guys don't understand.
Exactly. And granted, you know, I was big on the movement of moving Sark, getting rid of Sark,
but
because
not for Cutter.
Well, not for Cutter though. You know who I wanted? I wanted Kubiak,
right?
Because I know
Kubiak
can actually run this system. The problem is, we jumped the gun instead of waiting a little bit longer. We jumped the gun and got Dirk Cutter, who, like I said, coaches a completely different style of scheme. He likes more of a vertically based passing game, and his runs are simple, but his runs are basically simple runs to set up the deep ball.
They're honesty runs. Keep the deep honest.
Exactly, and on top of that, you don't have a quarterback who throws the deep ball very well,
or who can just go out there and get you a completion. He needs it perfectly laid out for him. He can't just go out there and, like, I was thinking about it during the games, like, how many times can y'all remember walk-off touchdowns from Matt Ryan? Because throughout the
last 5 years,
his whole time of earning the whole Matty Ice nickname, when he was like leading all quarterbacks in his age range for, comeback victories or wins in that time, it was mostly field goals. I can't really recall too many just walk-off touchdowns from Matt Ryan.
You do know this was one of the same arguments I tried to pose to y'all last year.
Hey man, we're today now. We're not in the past. Right?
Y'all fought me tooth and nail, and it's like I told y'all this is exactly what I've been trying to tell y'all, but y'all refuse to believe it.
Hey man, like I said, I don't know what's like the overall just like mood of this game. Are y'all like just like, or y'all mad, or how is it? How's the first hour of this live been going for?
I mean, it's more of an acceptance. This is who we are right now. This is what we are. This is, at 0-5.
Touchdown pass.
Who?
Dak just caught a touchdown pass.
Dak did?
Caught a touchdown pass?
Yeah.
Dakota caught a
There's a flag.
Dakota caught a touchdown pass. He was like, look, a wheel route.
A wheel route.
It was a Philly special. He ran a wheel route and caught it at the sideline.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, I mean, it's just been discussed with the coaching staff. It's been just an acceptance of, this is probably the end of this window, this Falcons team.
Probably.
I mean, at this, I'm talking about before you see major changes, like organizational changes.
Well, so I mean, I've heard the mumbling and the murmuring that Dan Quinn's getting fired on Monday.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I think right before you came in, I held up the article that.
Okay. Yeah, you saw when when Arthur and TD were down there looking like Grim Reapers, you knew it was over.
Yeah, it's like, well, as soon as you see your owner and your GM on the sideline, when you're about to go 0-5,
you know it's over. But I mean, I'm sincere. I was serious about what I said in the group. I really do think we should trade Matt Ryan. Right now, and just take out. We need Trevor, man. There's no point in going forward with what we currently have constituted. If we can get Matt Ryan off the books, you know what I mean? That'd be
send him to the 49ers. Send him. I mean, there's not a lot of places that you can really send him right now. That's the problem.
49ers could really use him because Garoppolo's terrible.
Yeah, you could literally drop him in that system and he could be a starter today.
Yeah, they could still go play because they're already a playoff team.
But we already there. We mentioned it though. Really, the only thing standing in the way is Matt's contract.
God, Garoppolo right now is 7 of 17 for 77 yards and a 15.7 rating.
Yeah,
against the Dolphins.
He's been really, but the Dolphins are shitting on them.
Matt's contract. If we trade him, it'd be a $75 million dead cap hit.
They would have to be a restructuring, obviously.
Yeah,
you would have to sell it to Matt Ryan, but hey, look, you're not going to win on this team. This team right now, it ain't cut out. It's not in your future here.
Right. You only have 4 more
restructure your deal. Let us send you to a winner, to a system you already know, and with a coach you already know.
Yeah.
There isn't a better situation than the 49ers for him. But you would have to restructure. God. I would take somebody. Fucking sign.
Let's get CJ Beathard in return, because at least we know if he doesn't work out, we can just move him and move on.
Right. I don't want Garoppolo for sure.
It's like no. A second or a third round pick or something. Matt.
Try and get their first, man.
Yeah, I doubt you get a first.
That's not worth a first.
If you're telling me that a team as good as the 49ers are, that are just a quarterback away from competing, like winning, would not give up a first?
It's worth it. I'm just thinking in terms of what GMs usually want and what
I think they'll look at the contract, the age, and the way he's looked this season.
I think they're going to look at it as a Super Bowl.
It's definitely worth it. A 30 pick, a 20 to a 30 pick for Matt Ryan, I'd do it.
Look at what Arizona got for Josh Rosen after one season as a starter.
Right.
It was like, we're not giving you a first for him. It's like, he has all the promise, but we're not giving you a first for him.
Yeah, but that's Josh Rosen. That's not a future.
But Matt's different than
quarterback with a bad contract who looks to be over the hill.
Yeah, but also teams, especially Shanahan's going to look at Matt like, I see what the problem is. Give him to me.
Look at the staff.
You want to see MVP Matt again? Let's go. Right. Bring him on.
Yeah, but Shanahan's also a guy who doesn't really like to overpay. So
you don't pay for a Super Bowl, man.
He hasn't been long enough.
No, seriously. Look at the way he builds his rosters. What he does is he goes and gets all those guys who played in his system but didn't pan out for anybody else, and he gets them for cheap. And that's how he builds all his rosters. He doesn't overpay for former players.
I understand that, but I feel like he's
really
not
had the opportunity as a head coach for you to really make that judgment.
Who was it?
You got to be in there for like at least 8 years for you to start saying what kind of tendencies this person has.
Well, no. Everything I've seen though, like everywhere he goes, there's certain players he targets, and it's always those like the Aldrick Robinsons, the guys who have virtually no value to anybody else, and he'll go bring those guys in.
Muhammad that's going to be Matt Ryan, but like you said, he has to read.
What was it like? He didn't try to trade for Mo Sanu last year. He let the Patriots do that, and then once the Patriots released him, and nobody else wanted him, he was like, "All right, I'll sign you for cheap."
And they cut him last week.
Yeah, they wound up cutting him, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things. He's a bargain shopper for guys for his former players who know his system. He doesn't normally overpay for those guys.
How are the Dolphins scoring so much? Let's see.
He's been killing it, man. I've been watching our red zone. Fitzmagic's having one of his 1 of 4 games. He just shows up every 1 of 4 games.
And he's gonna wear one of Deshaun Jackson's velour suits. Deshaun Jackson's gonna send him another velour suit to wear in the press game.
All right, so let's pose the question for Marco here, because right before you came in, we were talking about what would you want to do for the Falcons? Like, I'm going to pose a couple questions to you here, Marco. One, what's your shortest path for the Falcons to go from current state to competing? And that doesn't have to be, turning around this season. Two, who's your dream head coach for the Atlanta Falcons? And I'll just give you those two before we move on.
So what do we need to do? I'm already clear. We need to get rid of Matt Ryan.
Okay.
If we can get rid of Julio, try to do that, but we're probably not going to be able to do that. Then we need to lose a majority. We can't win more than 2 games.
If you trade Matt, you're losing the majority of your games.
We can't win more than 2 games because we got to get what's my man?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, and then we got to bring Dabo.
You're not getting Dabo from the college ranks. You're just not. He's not leaving.
You're not. You might not get Trevor Lawrence because as bad as we look, the Jets look just as bad, if not worse.
Honestly, I feel like if we played the Jets right now, we would lose.
We would lose.
I honestly do.
Bro,
Adam Gase is in a special class of being bad. He destroys everything.
We're talking about Dan. Well, Dan Quinn's not going to be here anymore, but we're talking about the Falcons, man.
I hope know. That's true. God, I hope that's true.
But Adam Gase has a special knack for destroying everything he touches. The only place he had success with Peyton Manning as his quarterback in Denver, and he's rode that success to 2 jobs where he's almost single-handedly obliterated the franchise. And
the Jets, to his credit, the Jets were already obliterated.
But Dolphins, look at what he did to the Dolphins.
The Dolphins were bad too.
But he turned them worse.
And Tannehill jumped ship.
No, they let him go.
Right.
And then on top of that, then he goes to the Jets and takes a guy who has some potential in Sam Darnold and has him looking like trash. And then what else does he do? He brings all those running backs that he drafted in Miami up to the Jets.
I understand what you're saying.
And Frank Gore.
I understand what you're saying, though. But at the same time, the Jets is obviously a talent thing. Like, they just do not have the personnel to compete. And Sam Darnold is good. He's better than Joe Flacco, which was clear today. But it's not all Adam Gase. Is all I'm saying. I'll wait till I see Adam Gase coach talent like Dan Quinn does and still blow it to say he's worse than that. We lose to the Jets right now. I'm telling you, we would.
But I think the talent thing is his fault because a lot of it is his evaluation of talent, and that's the problem. With him,
but you can I think he's a decent game coach. He might not be good at anything else, but I will say it is ironic though that our last road win I think came against the Jets on that rainy day.
Brett Coleman says it's everyone's fault, by the way.
Brett Coleman says everybody's fault. Yeah, I mean, that's clear at this point. But, I mean, it starts with coaching. It always starts with coaching.
Well, yeah, so Brett's more on my page, though, where
he says like, time to blow the whole thing up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, there's no point in going forward with this. You got to get rid of Matt, man. We got to. And for him and for us, like you said, send him to the Niners, sell him on the fact your career is waning. You can really go there and actually, be competitive, for a title. Jimmy Garoppolo's garbage. You can look like they'll start talking about you again. You'll be in a better market. The
49ers just make too much sense.
I don't know if they could afford Matt though.
Well, it would have, like I said, it would have to be a restructuring. You would have to go to Matt and be like, look, you're gonna have to take a pay cut, man. You're gonna have to do it. But how important is the Super Bowl to you?
But they're still paying Garoppolo like $27.5 million. So yeah, either way, I mean, it still would be they'd have to get him for little to nothing. That's why I'm just like, Washington, you want a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean Washington is the other team, but that would just be like sending him to Siberia.
Is that River?
It's okay with me. It's just okay with me, but I mean, hey.
Let's see what the 49ers are like over the cap.
Riverboat Ryan, you want to make another gamble and get Matt Ryan?
I mean, is there maybe they have some 1-year guys that we can try to equal the money a little bit and then just cut them?
Who on the Niners?
Yeah.
The Niners only have $4 million in cap space.
Yeah.
So
any expiring contracts?
They could. They actually, if they traded Jimmy, they'd save $6 million just because of the string.
Yeah.
Because he's only a $7 million cap hit, but he's already got his bonus this year. So,
but who would want Jimmy?
Yeah, not many people.
No, he's bad. Maybe the Patriots will take him back.
Yeah, I mean,
not as long as they got Cam.
I know, right? Is Cam recovered though? I feel like he's still sick.
I mean, he's gonna be out the next 2 weeks.
God damn. Shouldn't just be
he missed last week, so
he should miss one more game.
He's gonna miss this week's game. Which they postponed that to next Sunday, didn't they?
Yeah, so he may play next week.
Yeah.
They postponed it just so Cam could.
Right. They're like, we don't want the Patriots to suck. So
Bill Belichick purposely shut down his whole facility.
Right. He followed the rules, unlike his former employee.
Boy, I can't wait to see what happens to the Titans. So your dream would be someone from the Dabo scheme?
I just like watching them against Miami. Looked like the fucking Patriots, man. He was just picking us apart. There was always somebody open. Things were,
that offense is disgusting, and it's a lot of motion. I mean, it's a ton of motion.
A lot of motion, a lot of unpredictable stuff. And then he has the arm and he's accurate. He's like, he's the guy.
And he's a Georgia boy.
And he's a Georgia kid. He has the things that you want in the quarterback who can lead you. You know what I mean? He won't, even without a great system, this is a kid who can come and make some passes as long as he doesn't get killed out there and lose his passion to play. Because I could see that being an issue with Trevor. I don't know how necessarily tough he is, you know what I mean, just yet. Even though he likes getting hit. He said he likes getting hit. So that's what
I mean, in the national championship, that they like, well, in big games, they like to call a run for him fairly early to wake him up.
Yeah. Because he said once he gets hit, he knows the game started.
Right. He's like, oh yeah, football. Right. Here we go. That's what we're doing today.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so
but
we all agree that
I definitely do not want to see any kind of upward trajectory or anything positive this season.
I mean, firing Dan is. I mean, the only thing there's only two things that I will accept right now: fire Dan Quinn. The rest of the season's a wash. Fire Dan Quinn, and we go 11-0. Like that's it. That's it. That's all I want to see. Those are the only two options that are acceptable.
4 and 6. I don't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either lose purposely, or fire Dan Quinn, fire Dirk Cutter, and
if you can't trade Matt, bench him.
For who? Matt Schaub?
No, he might get us some wins.
Ben Kurt's on practice squad.
Matt Schaub might get us some wins. Maybe
you could you can activate Ben Kurt.
Where's Matt Sims?
Oh God.
Like I said, Ben Kurt's on practice squad. You can activate Ben Kurt and just let him play, see what you have there. But I mean, because the last time we saw him play was that preseason game against Denver.
They got hurt.
He looked good, and then he had the toe injury that put him out for the season.
Forever.
Now, I actually was thinking about another offensive coordinator though.
Who?
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
See if you can steal him away from old Sean McVay.
But and obviously, I want obviously if we can get the enemy, then that's amazing.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and there's one reason that bringing in a guy that has been in the successful system on the back end of successful windows scares me. It's kind of like what we did with Dan Quinn and that 4-3 scheme.
Yeah.
people have had time to see Bieniemy now. People have had time to figure out.
Don Gruden definitely did.
John Gruden's such a damn good coach, man.
He really is.
He's such a good coach.
He's like, what they got for me? We're gonna figure this out today, guys.
Hey guys, we're gonna attack these guys.
I'm more of the if we're gonna blow it up, make the move and do whatever it takes. Kind of like when we lost Shanahan, I was like, you know what, take the risk on Kingsbury. You have nothing to lose at this point. Bring in Cliff and take that risk because you just lost in the worst way you possibly could. What's there to lose? Typically history says it's gonna suck for you.
Kingsbury?
Yeah, back then, after 2016, when we knew Shanahan was leaving. So I want to take that risk. I want to be the team that,
what takes a risk on a young guy?
Yeah, when you bring him in, there's not a book on him. If you
it's not Lincoln Riley, he sucks.
Well, yeah. Here's when I said Kevin O'Connell, see if you can steal him away from Sean McVay in the Rams. Part of the reason he kind of pops into my head is because he spent most of his career where so he shadowed Sean McVay this season, who's one of the most innovative offensive minds in the NFL, and he, as a player, he was in the Josh McDaniels Patriot scheme for years, and there is very few schemes who are subject to make adjustments and change like that Patriot scheme. So you have two potential very great schemes and someone who's worked in both schemes and could potentially combine the two and create a different style of offense.
Who is this? The what under
Kevin O'Connell?
Kevin O'Connell.
He's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and he was Brady's backup for years in New England.
Oh.
All right, so we know what we want to do at quarterback. We know what we want to do at head coach. Let's talk about the pieces around the quarterback and the head coach. What do we do in regards to, Julio, Todd Gurley, Alex Mack, Jake Matthews, Deion Jones, Kiki? What do we do with these guys? Especially since it looks likely that we're going to part ways with Dan Quinn, and this is the beginning of a change. Do we keep players like Keanu O'Neal and Alex Mack and, keep them on this team, or do we now start the fire sale and try and get what we can out of those guys, like a Tack McKinley, because he's not coming back. Tack isn't coming back. If you're changing schemes, the likelihood of you keeping Keanu O'Neal is low. Ricardo can go because you got KZ backing him up. Alex Mack is on the tail end of his career. What do you do?
I think some of these young draft guys we can still sort of keep them around, like maybe Hennessy, see if we can develop him in the center position, or see if he has some flexibility. Huh?
Do you start the Hennessy era at center now and ship Alex Mack off?
What does Alex Mack have? One more year?
Yeah, this is it. This is his last year.
Yeah, you're not re-signing him.
Trade him for a fifth, a sixth?
You mean like mid-season? Or
trade him right now? Because you're coming up on the trade deadline in 3 weeks.
You might as well, because if he's not a part of the future, there's no reason to. If it can help the team, if it can help the team save money, but if there's no saving money, there's no point. Just let him play out the season.
But I'm saying, if you're saying you want to tank, essentially, why keep these players that are talented around?
Because they're not good enough to get wins anyway. I feel like how long is Jake Matthews? How many years does he have left?
When Jake will probably be here. That's what he's in the middle of a contract, but more so like the players like Keanu, who's at the end of his year. We have to re-sign him next season. Tack, we have to re-sign him next season if we want to keep him. Alex Mack, we have to re-sign him if we, next season. What do we do with these guys?
A lot of them walk. A lot of those guys should walk, but I think that
why would you trade him now and get like draft picks out of them though?
I mean, yeah, if you can do that, if like I said, if it can benefit the team, then do it. But if not, then just let it expire. But I think at this, like players like Grady, I mean, I would look. Debo's been looking disappointing, but him, I would try to keep a look on.
Oh, yay.
Because a lot of these dudes, I think if Trevor came in and started, next year, we could still be, maybe not a championship team, but still competitive.
I'm not saying sell the farm. I'm saying
Right.
just get rid of the guys that, if we're changing a scheme and if we're not going to re-sign, like if we know that, Alex Mack is either for sure retiring or we're going to move on from a 35-year-old center, should we ship him off to a team that could use, their weak point as a center? And they're willing to, or they just lost the center. They're a team in contention and they need that.
If only Bill O'Brien was still coaching.
Boy, we'll give you Alex Mack and Matt Ryan for Deshaun Watson. Deal.
Man, no, we might be able to leverage the first out of that too.
Right.
Deshaun and the first for those two guys.
Sorry, Brett.
I think if right now I would try to move Mac for whatever you can get for him and just let Hennessy finish the season as a starter. Just go ahead. It's your job now. No more rotating him in with Carpenter. Just let everybody just get comfortable in your new position. I would go Keanu. I try to trade him, see what you can get for him, which
you could probably send him in
maybe a mid-rounder. It could help. Yeah, I mean, it could help. He's not much different than Patrick Chung. They might love him. Well, I think Rico's contract, you might have to trade him after the season. Tyler Davidson's another one I would potentially look to move for cap space, but after the season.
What about Dante
Fowler? No,
you can't trade him. That'd be it.
Tack's another one. I think Tack, you could get a decent pick for him,
like a third,
if he shows that he's healthy. No, if he shows that he's healthy, like if you can kind of move him, like, all right, get him healthy, sit him out another week, let his groin get back to healthy, and then move him. Be like, all right, he's fully healthy.
Always more than a week.
When he's been healthy, you've seen the havoc that he can cause, because he had like 6 hits in the first game, and had like 3 in the first quarter against the Cowboys, and then he got hurt and hasn't. If you can get him his groin healthy before the trade deadline, you could potentially get a second or third rounder for him.
So just bench him until then, pretty much.
Huh?
So just bench him until you're ready to trade him, pretty much, right?
Pretty much. I would like kind of like we did when we got John Abraham. John Abraham just refused to play for the Jets and get injured going into free agency. So I mean, I'd move some of those pieces, see what you can get for him. Maybe you can get a few pieces to replace them. Well, I mean, you signed JJ Wilcox, so I mean, you might not need to replace Keanu, but
this could get ugly real quick we do.
Yeah, just
Tack though is one of those guys I think that is done with this current scheme, this current regime. I think he feels disrespected by Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff, and I think
that's a common theme.
Yeah. I think if we did blow things up and, say he might even go on IR for his groin this year, because for him to sit out 2 weeks, essentially 2.5 weeks, and come back healthy and then only make it 1 series. Was it 3 weeks?
Yeah.
So 3 weeks.
He got hurt in the first quarter of the Cowboys game.
Yeah. So 3 weeks he sits out and he comes back and makes it 1 series and it's re-injured. That might be something that you're going to have to sit out the whole year. So if that's the case, you're not going to be able to trade him. You may be able to sign him for cheap again, and just hope that he'll be a good backup, or you sign him on a prove it deal. At this point, man, I don't know. I was filled with rage at the beginning of this cast. I was angry, but we might be supporting a really bad team for quite some time.
I mean, I think we can at least have some hope if we march Matt Ryan back out there next season. I mean,
yeah, I'm not.
It's like
The only way
this
you can get rid of
squad-
him is this season, in my eyes.
you say that again?
I said the only way that you're going to be able to get out of the Matt Ryan contract unscathed, really, is this season, and that's if you convince him that he's not competing for a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah,
There's a team that wants him where there's familiarity,
not just
but
this year,
he has to
ever
restructure.
again.
Right. Like, hey, look, man, this is your Peyton Manning tour.
Yeah,
This is it. You're gonna have to,
second act.
yeah.
I just feel like Nostradamus with that contract, though.
What, saying it's going to be an albatross?
Well, I mean, I was, of course, I was the most adamant. I know Ryan didn't like the contract at first, but I was the one that was adamant this was a bad deal. And I even after 2017, when we made the playoffs, I was still like, this is a bad deal.
Yeah, because he played bad that season.
And well, no, 2017 was the year we went and we lost.
But he played bad.
We lost to the Eagles, but the contract kicked in 2018. He looked bad.
He looked good in 2018, but we were bad.
Yeah, that's right. Because 18 was the year where we had all the injuries, but 19, last year we struggled, and it's just like, and then it looks like he hit the wall. It's just like I said, his skill set, a 5-year deal, giving a 33-year-old quarterback a 5-year deal with his skill set, which he already doesn't have a strongest arm. So I figured around year 3 or 4 in the contract, you were going to start to see the arm start to decline, and that's what it looks like. It's just like,
And it's like I think one of the main things that you can sell to Matt is at this point you're playing yourself out of the Hall of Fame, Matt. Like if you keep on turning games up like this, you're demoting, because Phillip Rivers is looking good right now. You're going on the decline. All these other old quarterbacks, they're looking okay, but you're looking real pedestrian out here and playing yourself out of an already shaky Hall of Fame, contention. So if you did your MVP, you had your Super Bowl, conference title, go to San Francisco, man. See what you can cook up there. Maybe you'll make it back in the next 4 years to another Super Bowl. And
I mean, hell, I think he could do it this year with the talent they've got, and the fact that there'll be, like we were saying earlier, no adjustment.
Right.
well,
No adjustment. You already know the system. You're familiar with,
The biggest issue with the Niners has been injury, and and really it's been like that for a lot of teams. But they lost Mostert. They lost Mostert for a few games.
He's back though.
Playing today. I think they said they lost Tevin for a few games. Jerick McKinnon gets to start. He got hurt that game.
Well, it might not be this season. I mean, it might be, but I'm saying it's
know
a better opportunity.
I'm just saying in general, though, I think their Achilles heel has been their lack of health. The same as it's been a big thorn on our side too. It's just we can't stay healthy, and it's shown on the field.
I would be really, really interested to see what's going to happen when what the heck just happened? Like, I get that we're firing Quinn, but what's the direction of the franchise after that? Do we think it's just a coaching scheme problem? Do we think that that's it? Or do we think that there's more to it? It's going to be this is going to be sad but exciting over these next couple of weeks, because change in the NFL, especially when it comes to potential, that's a word that kills a lot of people.
Question for your question. When you say, do we think, what do you mean? You mean, what is Arthur Blank thinking right now?
Yeah, the Falcons. What is the
are you saying, like, does he think that if we get another coach, he can just keep this same team together?
Yeah.
And somehow squeeze wins out of it? I hope not. I hope not, because I don't think that. I think we're done with this cast. I think this cast, the culture is blowing, being choke artists, blowing leads, just overall being bad.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
we have a 5 losing game, a 6. We have a 5, a 6, a 6, a 4, and now a 5 again.
that's
All
just
losing
pathetic.
streaks, and one of those was a 5-0 start where we missed the playoffs.
God. Maybe Arthur's like, you know what? We started 5-0 and missed the playoffs. Now we're 0-5. Watch this. But I mean, the problem is, I think Arthur knows he's short on time, and that's kind of a grim thing to say. But Arthur doesn't have time for a 5-year rebuild.
Mm-mm.
He just doesn't, and you don't turn teams around quickly. So I don't think that we're gonna see a blow up unless we go to like 0-7.
But either way, like there's so many people with expiring contracts, it's gonna be like a blow up anyway. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Even if
there's
Matt's
a
the
likelihood that
quarterback.
they re-sign Keanu.
Yeah, I
doubt
think they
it.
should let him walk though for sure.
I think with the cap potentially going down next year, I think he's going to wind up being a cap casualty anyway. Because if he wants anything close to top safety money, we won't be able to pay it.
He's not going to want top safety money. There's no way he can demand it.
I'm not saying he's going to want top safety. I'm like anything close. And when I say anything close, I'm like if he wants anything close to $9 million, I don't think we could pay it. I don't even think we could pay 7 again. We're paying 7 for this year. I don't think we could pay that again for him.
He'll end up on one of those 4 teams in the AFC East somehow.
The AFC East.
Yeah.
Oh, the 49ers are marching back. It's now 37-17.
Okay.
So that's
I'm watching. I still got red zone.
I just need Monster to have a good game.
I don't know what he's done since then, but he had a good first half.
I don't know how I did in FanDuel since their servers are down. I know when I saw Gurley run that in, and then a couple of my like Anderson was having a good game. I was like, here we go.
Yeah, your boy caught a touchdown pass and they got called back.
Who?
For the Slayton.
Oh, he did. Damn it.
And it got called back because his receiver clearly set a pick for him. He like blocked the DB and then turned around like he was looking for the ball. It's like, bro, come on, man.
Hey, look at Devontae getting 15 carries.
Yep.
Yeah, Devontae's looking okay.
Boy, I mean, Dallas is a bad team too, but they're also really banged up. Like, last week's excuse was we threw out our practice squad at the Packers. This week it's like, okay, you had everyone but Julio. What happened?
Well, I mean, it was 2 things. I think the last 2 weeks have been the same thing. It was that our defense is porous and terrible, and Matt Ryan had a bad game. It's the same thing in both games.
But like I said, it goes back to what I said. Without Julio, it was who was it? I think somebody on Pro Football Focus made the reference, and they said teams respect, like they were talking about the Vikings. They said teams respect Thielen, but they fear Stephon Diggs. Where I think that's with us, it's teams respect Calvin Ridley, but they fear Julio. When Julio is on the field, like as good as Calvin is, everybody wants to know where Julio is, and it's hey, keep eyes on 11, and they shift defenses to stop him, and even still, he's gonna eat regardless because he's that good. But defenses shift their entire he can change your entire game plan on defense based off of how good he is and his ability to beat you underneath. But also he's fast enough where he can get behind your corners and your secondary and take the top off your defense. Now, can Matt get him the ball? That's the problem. But it's one of those things. That's what defenses. That's their number one. That's the player that defenses fear more than anybody on our team. Yeah,
I mean, he's lethal.
Yeah.
All right.
It's quite apparent, right?
So let's do this real quick. Let's run it around. Now that we know who these current Falcons are, and we're not going to have Dan Quinn after tomorrow, which they should just announce it now. I never understood that, why they wait.
Just for the respect aspect of him, because Arthur Blank has so much respect for people in general.
Well, I respect you so much that I'm not going to fire you today, but I'll fire you tomorrow.
Right. Well, I think the press conference and all.
I think he just wants to let them, address the team and all that stuff, and then they probably put memos in everybody's locker, get all that stuff put in it, like, what's his name will be fired today.
How many Dan Quinnisms is he going to say on the way out? What's the over?
Watch him be real for the first time ever.
Right. I hope he flames the team up. He's like, you know what? Look, Russell Gage fucking dropped a ball. Matt Ryan's arm is fucking dead.
I'm working with a retarded offensive coordinator.
Like, Dirk Cutter's a fucking bum. I hope he flames everybody up on the way out. That'd be hilarious. All right, so let's do this.
Guys, I'm out.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Gets to Arthur Blank. You're cool. Fuck you. All right, so next week, Dan Quinn's gone. Team stays the same. At Minnesota.
Oh.
L. Micah.
Loss.
Detroit.
Man, I mean, L. Close L.
Micah.
I think that's one we might be able to sneak out.
Shit, that's a big fat L. At Carolina now.
So 0-7.
Yeah.
I think okay.
Micah says 1-6.
I think we're gonna end at. I think we're gonna be 1-6 as well.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with you guys then. So we'll be 1-6. Then we go into Carolina.
I think we might win that one too. But here's the thing. I think it's gonna be one of those things where we might win too, and it's like, oh yeah, and then but when we get towards the end of the season, it's gonna be like 4-12. It's like we're gonna win a couple, but it won't. It's not gonna
win every 3 to 4 games.
Yeah, basically. We might be like the Browns a couple years ago, where it's just like, there's one team who's gonna be like just gonna take them so for granted that they're gonna wind up getting beat. Like, oh, we just lost to the Browns. No.
No, that's an L. We taking an L. Bridgewater got our lunch money.
Yeah, Bridgewater looked so unbothered in the pocket.
He was smiling.
So unbothered that it like there's that one play where he literally was standing flat-footed in the pocket. It was like, all right, well, I'll just check it down. Whatever. I think he had like 5 seconds in the pocket on that play.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be some dynamics though that are going to change for them though. Because when C-Mac
hold on, let's go through the schedule first. Micah, chill.
All right,
hold on. Because I'm about to go right to what you're talking about. Then we go to Denver. Or, I'm sorry, not at Denver. Denver comes here.
Loss.
All right, so you both agree for a loss there. So then we would be 1-7 going into the break.
Yep.
And then we start the real schedule in the second half. That's when we go at New Orleans.
L.
I think that one's gonna be one we actually win.
We're gonna lose by 30.
I think we're gonna be so bad that they're gonna completely like gloss over us, kind of like
we're gonna be so bad that they can't gloss over us.
but really, here's the thing: even in our worst seasons, we typically are competitive against the Saints.
Yeah, but this is a different monster this year, Micah. Like, I've never seen a Falcons team. Like, I've seen bad Falcons teams where they don't have the talent or they're hurt. This team looks like they're sleepwalking on the field. Like, they have no will.
I think here's the one thing. I think whenever new coach, they're going to try to give some kind of effort. But I think there's so much.
It all depends on who it is.
I think there's so much hatred for the Saints and Sean Payton that they might actually come ready to play that game.
I already accounted for that the coaching change win with that one. Let's not get too carried away right now.
I first of all, I don't like the Saints, and I think they're one of the most arrogant franchises. So I think they're going to completely overlook.
None of that equates to a bad team beating them, though. Like I can see if you say that there's something
They're not that
could
good.
exploit.
They're not that good in my.
They haven't had Michael Thomas for like 5 weeks, and they're still winning.
Even if we get in even say Julio's back, we have all of our offensive weapons.
Oh wow!
What?
I think Dak just broke his ankle.
Oh no, Dalton time.
Yeah,
boy, I hate Jerry Jones. He's sitting there going,
either it's broken or it's dislocated. One of the two.
Oh no, you're a little ahead of me on this red zone. But wait, what were we just talking about?
All right, so.
Oh wait.
New Orleans.
Oh yeah. Like you're saying a lot of things. Like I could say if you said even if we have a healthy Julio and all of our weapons and we get in a shootout, our defense we're still not going to win. And
we're not stopping anybody on that offense. Yeah, nobody.
There's no scenario.
The thing is, Drew Brees has lost his arm talent, but he doesn't do what Matt Ryan does.
Right, it's bad ball.
Doesn't. All right, Las Vegas.
Loss.
L.
Yep. Then New Orleans again.
L.
Chargers.
L. What? L.
They look good with Herbert.
It's an AFC team too.
Yeah.
I think Herbert's going to turn the football over.
We'll still lose though.
To who? Who is he going to fumble it? Because I know we're not picking him off.
It'll be close, but
you never know. Like I said, that play that ended the Tampa game, that was a horrible throw. It was like the safety was standing there, and Herbert put it right in his hands. Hey,
thanks. I guess.
I think like the Lions game, it'll be close, but we'll lose that one too.
All right, so then we go Tampa.
Win. I think we shock them in the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That'll be our second win.
Kansas City.
Hell.
Loss.
Decimated.
We're going to get 40 by
50. 40. They're going to put a 50 burger on us. And then Tampa again.
Loss.
So we're somewhere between 2 and 3 wins at the end of the season.
Yeah, I said 4, but
I mean, if it is 4, it'd probably be Chargers.
I still think. I mean, my thing is where I think we are. I think we'll still be top 3 picks regardless. But
I'd be okay with that.
Would y'all be just okay with Justin Field as with Trevor, or do you have a preference?
I'd be happy with either. Honestly, like I want Trevor Lawrence because I want those extra 3 inches of height, and I want the fact that he and his. So when they matched up in high school, and when they, I'm not saying when they've actually played each other, but if you compare their high school careers to each other, Lawrence was better. If you compare their college careers, Lawrence is better.
The only time that they matched up though, in that QB5 competition, Justin Fields did beat Lawrence.
Yeah, and it's not to say like I think this is going to be one of those quarterback classes where you get 2 great quarterbacks, just because they're both so talented, so talented.
Right, there's a little recency bias just because we haven't seen Justin Fields play yet.
Yeah, I mean he's going to come out and set the world on fire again in Ohio State. I mean, he's just that good. So top 3 pick would be okay with me. I mean, you need to get 1 or 2, and I think the Jets will win one. Like Le'Veon Bell's coming back. Their defense is actually playing well. Anyway,
they got who they got next week?
I think.
Let's see.
The Jets.
I think if somehow we can't move Matt, I wouldn't be mad if we got Trey Lance.
I don't want Lance. I want someone that I know is going to be a winner.
But
Lance is good. Don't get me wrong.
I think, like I said, I think it's kind of like what the Packers are expecting with Jordan Love. It's like we got a guy, we don't expect him to play immediately, so we can sit him behind Matt, just let him learn the mental part of the game. And
he's a North Dakota Bison. What is he like putting up godly numbers out here?
Oh yeah, look at him.
Yeah,
he
looks better.
Like Wentz, but on steroids.
Yeah, he looks better than Wentz did when Wentz was in North Dakota State. So, like I said, I wouldn't mind getting him if we can't get rid of Matt. If we can't move Matt Ryan, just kind of sit him behind Matt for another year or 2 until Matt's contract gets reasonable enough to cut him or whatever, and then you're like, all right, we can move on. But we don't have a guy we can groom to be the future of the franchise.
I'm looking at the Jets schedule. It's got 0-16 written all over it.
Who are they
At
playing?
Miami.
So
I'm just going to name the teams. Miami, Buffalo, Kansas City, New England, Chargers, Miami again, Raiders, Seattle, Chargers, Browns, and then the Patriots again.
Wait, so their next opponent's the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Okay.
They may win that one.
Fitzgerald's going to come out and throw 5 picks.
Fitzmagic? He could. I mean, very well could.
He had a good game, so you got to, stats got to catch up. Statistics say he's going to have a bad one.
Let's check the Le'Veon played today. Okay. I knew they activated him, but I didn't know he played.
First day back.
Let's
You
check
look all right.
the scores real quick before I move on to this other topic.
But I don't know. I can't name a single receiver on the Jets.
Jamison Crowder.
Okay, Jameson Crowder. Yeah, that's the one dude they need to feature.
Frank Gore.
Texans actually won. God.
Texans about to go on a run.
Right.
So there's only 3 undefeated one teams so far left, right? It's us, the Jets, and
Giants.
The Giants.
Oh,
Giants might.
Let's go Giants. No Dak. Go
What happened with Dak?
That ankle definitely looked broken.
All right. So we're not going to bring in, we're not going to go out on a coaching hunt right now because college is in the middle of their season. The NFL's in the middle of their season. You can't even start interviews yet. So with the way our staff is currently comprised, who do you guys think is going to be the head coach named or the interim? And who do you want? And should there be additional moves? Micah.
Who do I think is going to get promoted? Either it's probably going to be either Dirk or Raheem Morris, considering that only 2 who really have head coaching experience
And neither have been successful.
Yeah. Well, what's his name had one. Raheem Morris had one successful year where he went like 10-6 or 9-7 and just missed the playoffs. But
10-6 for a black coach is a death sentence.
Yeah. Well, the problem was he missed the playoffs. He missed that wild card spot.
Lovie Smith got 10-6 and got.
But and like I wouldn't mind Raheem Morris being the OC, being the moving to head coach, and then make Ulbrich become the defensive coordinator. I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, 2010, Raheem went 10-6, and then the following season he went 4-12.
Right.
But that was
what team was that?
The Bucks.
Okay, he was on the Bucks.
Yeah, with Josh Freeman as his quarterback.
And then
I agree with pretty much what Micah said. But the only thing I disagree with is I think that they should fire Dirk as well. Go ahead and get rid of him. And then just move Raheem to head coach. Ulbrich to.
Would you make Knapp the OC?
Yeah, make Knapp the OC, and that's how we would roll it.
I'm firing Dirk. I want to make a move. I'm demoting Raheem. And I'm promoting Ulbrich just for change.
You demoting him, might as well fire.
might as well. So I'm firing them both. I'm firing both coordinators and Dan. I'm saying, you know what? You're out of here. And then I'm doing something different, actually. I'm thinking like Arthur Blank. I'm thinking like a 78-year-old team owner, and I know
Bring it back, Rich McKay.
I'm doing something different, and I'm making, like Matt Schaub the offensive coordinator.
I was thinking.
You know what? Let's try it. Player coach.
Move him to the offensive coordinator, and you're no longer a player. Then you move what's the name up Ben Kurt off the practice squad.
Right. Why not, man? You're 0-5. Like, what does it hurt?
Yeah.
What does trying something crazy like that hurt? You're either going to catch fire and it works like magic, or you're going to continue to lose games.
Here's the crazy thing. He knows that Shanahan system. So he could probably call it a whole lot better.
And he's a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. A backup quarterback.
Right. He could be a head coach.
He sees the game from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. He has to see it from the player and a coach's perspective.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and when he's come in and played, he makes the right decisions in this system.
Yeah, that's why I was saying don't start him. He might get us some wins.
Right. Like, why not? Like, what does that hurt? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all those moves. Anything but keeping Dirk.
Yeah. I think Dirk's got to go.
He's got to leave the NFL. Like, go coach a high school.
Go back to Idaho State.
Yeah.
He'll get some coaching job somewhere just based off of the fact that they recycle coaches. Like,
he could be a QB coach or something, or a wide receiver coach. Did he play football ever?
Who?
Dirk.
Yeah, I think he was a quarterback.
He's a quarterback. Yeah.
I don't know about pros, but
he could be a QB coach.
Brett said the Dak injury makes him so upset.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. He's been fighting to try and get a contract.
Yeah, it does suck.
The one of his biggest strong points was his health, and he just broke his ankle.
Maybe we can get Dakota.
God. Oh my God!
You're watching it?
Oh my God! I'm watching it right now. Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to see it then.
That was bad.
Did it spin?
Feel for him, though.
No, but it definitely hung.
Yeah. Because he was holding his leg. He was holding his leg up. That's why I was like,
yeah, it went blank.
Wow. I was like, bro, I think he just broke his ankle. That's what I saw.
Morphine!
That was terrible. Oh my God. Lord, I feel bad. I do feel bad for him. That's terrible. I like that.
I mean, I like Dak. I don't necessarily know if he's the building piece the piece you want to build your whole franchise around.
He's like Byron Leftwich.
Put Dak. I mean, you've had, because the Jason Garrett offense is a vertical offense. Mike McCarthy is a vertical offense. Put Dak in this system.
I mean, yeah, you could do that. I like to be. I don't know if y'all remember. Well, I don't know if y'all remember. I wanted us to draft Dak.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Round to be Matt's backup. But
I definitely remember that.
Dallas wound up getting him in the third. They made him the starter because Romo got hurt, and he hadn't looked back since. But the biggest problem with him is, does he still want that Pat Mahomes like contract?
You can't now.
He can't now. Yeah, he just lost that. Now he's going to go on a prove it deal somewhere.
God, that was terrible. I hope it's just dislocated and they can just pop it back in, but that looked really bad.
That hurt.
Cool.
So we've decided to fire Dan Quinn, set the world on fire, and hope for the worst. That's our plan for the rest of the season?
Pretty much.
Go Falcons.
Ready? Chaos.
So, on a brighter note, let's go Braves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got
starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are we recording Tuesday or Thursday?
Yeah, we're gonna have to record Tuesday to react. Because starting Monday, it's 7 days of continuous baseball if we go seven games.
Okay. Kershaw be choking, so let's go.
Let's see some Fried magic. Let's see why he was an MVP candidate. Let's let Ian Anderson continue to pitch well. Not Max Fried. Kyle Wright continue to pitch well.
Acuna, just get on base. Don't be chased. I know against the Marlins he was pressing a bit, so hopefully he can shake some of that and just start making contact and getting on base where he's dangerous because striking that doesn't help.
250 is not Acuna's typical numbers.
Right.
He's a 300 guy for sure, or 290. All right, gentlemen, that was fun. At least we got a semblance of good news, and unless the world's just trolling us right now.
Right. But, Dan Quinn's still there. I mean, one
actually
thing about keeping Dan Quinn is we'll keep losing. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is an article by Brett, and he's just trolling us to
it's like, we already fired our coach. Why can't y'all fire y'all's?
I know that's what they're all saying. It's like, who would have thought Bill O'Brien would have got eliminated before? I mean, got fired before him or Quinn or Gase.
Right. So
the only thing that gives Quinn more leeway than Bill O'Brien is at least Quinn's been to a Super Bowl.
Right, but Bill O'Brien has like 3 straight division championships,
and he hasn't even made it to a conference championship yet. True. Every team, like Brett said, every team in that division has been to a conference championship except the Texans.
True.
All right, so for those of you who tuned in the second half and wondered why we started talking about things halfway through, there is a part 1 to this. My internet just died and kicked me off for some reason. So if you look in our video links, you'll see part 1 of this. If you don't know who we are the Fish and Grits, the podcast. We're a local Atlanta podcast. We do this once a week. We have about 22 episodes up now, and we're starting to do these post-game reactions every week. They're probably going to be somber for the rest of the season, or maybe this coaching change completely changes everything and you see a different team for the rest of the season. Who knows?
Or maybe we get happy because we're getting close to one of those.
Yeah.
Top picks.
Yeah. There we go. 0-7, baby. Let's go. Top.
That should be like a meme, like a Falcon, like a person doing complicated math, and it'd be like Falcons fans that now we just gotta go 11-0.
I know, literally, that's what you saw fans on Instagram and all these places. They're like, "Don't worry, guys, we're gonna win 12 in a row now." I'm like, have you seen the rest of our schedule and the way those teams are playing? But
we're gonna be the first in history.
We got kind of what we wanted. The rest of the NFL is playing well. We're playing bad. Maybe we can do something. It all depends on what we do with Matt Ryan. So let's wrap this up here. Let's call this an episode. And if you only watch these, we'll see you next Sunday around the same time. Or you can catch us on wherever you get your podcasts. We are Fish and Grits, the podcast. And we will